Greetings, welcome back to PinkOddBird. Today we're here to look at this particular book. It was made as a custom order that was actually requested a really long time ago before I even actually put my custom order slots into place. But it was time for it to come to fruition. So here it is. So this book is basically, it's designed and it is going to be used as a guest book. So there's not going to be like lots of like pull apart interactive ephemera kind of stuff. I wanted it to be pretty straightforward because I know that people who aren't familiar with books like this might be kind of like, I don't know what to do, or should I write here or should I not? So just to kind of like, you know, cut all of that and just kind of keep it as simple and straightforward as I could, but still detailed and you know, interesting, was fun. You know, I'm happy. I'm very happy with the way that this turned out. This book is going to be a guest book in a house called the Brummall House. It is in Salisbury, Missouri. And if you guys are in that area, you can probably check it out. But it's like an old house from the 1800s. So she wanted this book to be in a Victorian style, which obviously you guys know is my jiggity jam. So I made this book and I was like, you know, I would be actually happy to, can I keep it? Can it be mine? Do you want it? No, you don't? Okay. So it's a big one. This one is about, I want to say, I think it's 11 inches tall and it's about 8.5 inches wide. I did the spine as a curved spine, so you can see it's slightly rounded here. And I also did bands on the spine, so it has that nice old look. And then the spine is about 3 3/4 inches. Even though I know this is going to be a guest book, I still kind of left it with a little bit of space just in case they want to add some things. I also made it hollow back spine, so that way it'll lay as flat as it can because people are going to be writing in this, and this one lays super duper flat. I decided to do a fabric cover and I hand painted this myself. I mixed the colors to try and match like the color tones for the book. It's supposed to be kind of like a burgundy, like deep grape burgundy, kind of almost maybe sometimes purple. So I just mixed a bunch of colors together to get this. And then I left some of these like faded pieces because I don't know if you guys have ever seen like velvet from the 1800s. It kind of looks like this when it's been really worn down. There are some metal corners on the corners here, and I did those in gold as well. Obviously gold is the accent color. And then for the cover, I had this really, really cool frame, and I was kind of bugging Priscilla. I was like, I really want to use this because it's so perfect for the book. But it's like a frame, but I was like, there needs to make a better way for it to like stick to the book in full so that it doesn't go anywhere. So I built this velvet little backing here. So this is all handmade by me. It was empty. This frame is vintage. It has its original made in Italy sticker on the background. This isn't one of the metal ones. It's more like the Honko, kind of like Sirocco kind of like material, but it's still vintage and I think it's really, really pretty. And then I added this key, which I was actually saving for one of my Alice in Wonderland books, but it had to go on here because it's not an Airbnb, it's a B&B, bed and breakfast. So I was like, I guess it's so perfect. So I let it go here. And then down here I have this little piece that I've added. It's got a little lady in there with some beads that I made, and that's the bookmark. So that's the gist of the outside of the book. So let's take a look on the inside. All right. As I mentioned, this book is really big. So I have the camera up really high. Oh, I just made it crooked. Okay, there we go. So on the side of the book, there's no paper clips in this book because there's no reason. But you guys know I love my charms. So I did add 6 charms that I handmade here out of different beads that match the color scheme, like purples, burgundies, some pearly kind of colors. So I just attached those because I think it's just going to look so pretty when it's laying there and it's all fanned out and people's going to be like, what is that? Also, the reason why I chose this cover too, that was a little bit, thank you Priscilla, by the way, for your help. I combined both of the ideas that we had to make this. So is because it needs to be flat because people are going to be writing on it, like I said. So I used this paper. I've been saving it forever, ever, and I didn't have very much of it. In fact, this book kind of ate up most of it, so what I have left is kind of like scraps. But it's this hand marbled paper from Italy, and it's beautiful, but I just thought that it would fit in this book so well because it's, you know, Victorian, and it's going in a Victorian home, and just so pretty. So here at the front, this is actually a picture of the B&B. And I left it as a pocket just in case the owners want to put something in here to, you know, start the book or dedicate the book. I did do some flip outs. So they flip out, and I know it's kind of probably hard to write when it's flipped out. So you could flip it backwards and people can write on it there, or you could just leave it plain and people can just write here. Or if it really bugs you, you could just cut it off. So I've added some like interesting papers in here just to, you know, kind of keep the interest in here. And of course, signature stuff here on the sides. I did some stamping throughout the book. Like I said, I was trying to make it interesting without overwhelming the book. So those are all the details. I've snagged some, she's gonna recognize this probably, but I took some pictures from their Instagram to use in the book here. So this is a part of one of the pictures of the property there. You'll notice it. Well, the trees are a different color, but all right. I did coffee stain all of the papers myself, and I did do some stenciling in the book. This is an actual vintage catalog page, but I thought it would be kind of fun to add some book pages in that were relevant to kind of like, you know, when you're decorating or staying somewhere. So this one is all about carpets and flooring. So really nice little interesting piece. And if anything, they're just nice little conversation starters when you're on this page of the book, you know, when it's being signed. Some paper that you can obviously write on both sides. I did do a lot of stitching detail. I added this crunchy paper is from when I was dyeing the papers. You could write on this if you wanted to. Old vintage ledger paper can be written on as well. There's the center. There's probably about 160 pages front and back for this book to be written in. I love the coffee staining on this one. I did do some textiles on the edges. So like I made these like clusters, and then there's one of the charms that I made. And I did do some stamping in the book that's relevant to the property. So this one says 1898. I believe that's when the house was built. Here's the other piece of that photo. And I printed these on like a see-through kind of paper on purpose because I thought it just gave a nice little, like, you know, transparent effect. And then of course, like in between the signatures, these pages, if ever, they could be, you know, they can glue some stuff on these pages or anything like that. Things that might be important, or just leave them plain. That's fine too. Or maybe if they like have time frames, they could put like a little plate on here, like March through June or whatever, summer, winter, spring, summer, or something like that. I don't know. Just ideas of how it can be used. The book pages in here, I tried to keep them as old as I could. I really dug into my old antique books. And this page here, I believe, is from, I want to say I know for sure I picked out of my book from 1887. And I thought that was so cool because the book pages that are in here, I think it's particularly these. So the book pages are from 1887, and this book was in existence before this house even was in existence. So I thought that was kind of cool, probably about 10 or 11 years before the house. So I thought that was pretty cool. I did do some slight imagery in the style that she asked. So that's what you see here. And then here I stamped welcome. I didn't add too many pockets, but just in case things want to be added. I also thought that it would be a good idea maybe if she wants to put things in that maybe people can take to go, like activities for the day or something like that. But in the meantime, there's these little tags in here, and obviously they can also write on the backs of these. So here's the center. It's got another little, and I printed this one on even thinner paper. I just really love the way that looks, kind of almost ghostly. But I love this whole spread right here, but that's the house when it's illuminated from the outside. And then I added in, I had an extra one of these pictures I printed out too, so I just threw it in there. They could have, I actually printed those on photo paper. And then again, you can write on the back of the tags. And she asked me to include my business information, so I just wrote a little note on these little cabinet cards that my friend Priscilla made for me. It's just saying this book was handmade completely, and if you're interested in one, you can take this. And then I just put my business card in here. I put it in this little paper slip because it was easier to just pull it out. So my business card is in there, and there's 3 of those in the book. Tons and tons of writing space. Also space to glue stuff on or just have pretty paper. Even these little pieces, like I said, they can be written on. I also aged some tape. So it's not actual vintage tape. I actually aged it myself and added that into the book for a nice, like, old kind of effect. I did stencil some of these edges that flip out. Like I said, they can always like cut it off if it bugs them, or flip it back when people can write on this side maybe. So lots of choices. I did add some lace up here and try to keep all the stuff out of the way of where it's actually going to be written. And this book lays really flat. It's so nice. So it's a perfect opportunity to use like a paperweight, like, you know, something to hold the pages down while, you know, people are writing on the other side. Or like if you've got like fancy clips like this that can hold the pages down, things like that. So it lays flat, but I don't know how breezy it is in there. Some more aged tape there, and then this is an actual ledger page, and I love this particular one. Well, anyway, it can be written on down here, but this is from the starting in like the 1930s up to like the 1940s, I guess. And then here's the back. So all of it can be written on. Don't be shy. This is actually avocado dyed paper. There's 6 signatures in total in this book. Here's the bookmark. So I just, like I said, added some beads and I attached it to sari silk. So as the book is being used, and if it needs to be like closed and transported, just move the bookmark to where they left off and remember where you're at. Another charm. I liked him. He was so fancy. And on this side, this is the side of the ledger paper that I loved because it's textured. Like you can actually feel the textures from when it was like pressed up and just put into the book. Oh, I love it. It's nice texture. The music paper, well, this one I kind of cut it, but it says springtime, and this music paper comes from 1899 out of one of my personal books. Coffee staining is so good. It's hard to pick up on camera, but even though the pages are plain, they still have some interest to them. There's another piece from their Instagram where they did a before and after. So this was the before. It's another, I just tucked these in because I feel like they might get lost if I put them all the way in. So there's little flaps here. So I just used the little flaps to tuck them on there. But I tried to use like travel kind of related imagery. There's the diploma. I also printed it on see-through paper, but this is a diploma from one of the children, the owners. There's the after. Look how great it looks. Down here I stamped rest. Really nice. This is actually a big tree imagery, which I love. It's really cool. They have lots of cool trees in front of the house there, so I thought it was kind of fitting. I think these here are from 1910, these pages. Brummall is the name of the family slash house. Some fabric here. It can kind of flip back for more space. Beautiful painting. Some more antique book page. And this one is plain on the back side, so it can be written on. I mean, these pages are over 100 years old, so I mean, they're pretty good condition for their age. I just thought it was so fitting to have, you know, super old book pages in a book for an old house. Piece of fabric here. Like I said, perfect time to use paper weights or anything like that if you want to. You don't have to because it lays flat. This is Missouri, that's where it's located, and I left this space plain down here in case the owners maybe want to write a little blurb in there. This is another piece from their Instagram, some door plates that they use. Another tag. A couple more tags here. Try to pick some really like Victorian looking items. Here's the other side of that. Just fun little pieces. Something to make it more personal. There's the avocado stained paper, and I love it because it kind of matches the tones in their logo. That's why I put them together, so really pretty. That's their house logo there. It says vintage down here. Oh, that's the end. I'll tell you what this is in just a second. And there's my stamp. Right there. This book is so big. So this, I made just like a writing board. I put this little tassel up at the top just so that if it's tucked into the book somewhere, it's easily identifiable because this will be hanging out of the top. But it's just a really like sturdy piece, and I just covered it with this paper that I have, but I left it really flat. And so the reasoning for it is when the book is being used, they can tuck this behind the page, and that way people will have like a really flat, because some people write hard. I mean, it'll be fine without it, but I just for the extra, like, you know, security. And then, you know, as they're switching through pages and stuff, you know, obviously the owner can move it so that it kind of like follows where they're at in the book. So and then I just have it tucked in the very, very back for now. Same marble paper there at the back, and that is it. So I hope that they love this book. I sure do. I hope that you guys have enjoyed looking at this, and yeah, so thanks again for asking me to make this for you. Really cool to have a book that I made, something, you know, in a house that's going to be so old and people will be using and seeing this, and so it's just like a win-win. So I'm really happy, and yeah, I think that's going to be it for now. I'm going to get back to working on a little collection that I'm working on in conjunction with my July custom order. And then after that, I have some other projects that I need to get to as well. So there's going to be a lot of stuff coming up pretty soon here, guys. You guys know at the end of the year is when it starts getting a little bit busier for me. So I hope you guys all have enjoyed it. And that is going to wrap it up for me for now. Be sure to stay tuned because you never know what direction this odd flock of ours is heading into. And until next time, toodaloo.